The little girl was walking over here in the grass crying.
Minister Esther White of Youngstown is among those who came to the aid of a 4-year-old girl who was found wandering alone in the Wick Recreation area of Mill Creek Park. It happened on June 27th.
My sister said she remembered the little girl said, wait, I got to get my socks and shoes on. But they continued to go, and my sister said she thought that she went until she said she saw her crying there.
White walked the 4-year-old around the park to see if she recognized anyone. White also asked the child if she knew her mom's phone number or address. The girl said no, but did say she was with a group and Miss Jackie. Jacqueline Underwood would then be charged with child endangering after Mill Creek police determined the home daycare owner had left the 4-year-old at the park after traveling there for a field trip. Underwood was released on house arrest and ordered not to have any contact with the child during the pending criminal case.
The child's mother tells me it's devastating to have this happen when you've entrusted your child's care to someone. But Underwood has no previous criminal history, but state inspections of her daycare did raise concerns.
And now her license to operate could be in jeopardy.
Our recommendation is immediate suspension of her license. We don't issue that license. We cannot cancel that license. That's all a determination by the state.
The Ohio Department of Job and Family Services in Columbus will review the findings of Mahoning County, including a statement from Underwood. The state will take into consideration that she's been in operation since at least 2006 and has never had another serious violation. But during an unannounced inspection on July 1st, just days after the 4-year-old was left unattended at the park, Underwood had a finding of 1 serious violation related to the park incident, 6 low-risk violations, and 4 moderate-risk violations that are documented with the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. That includes that she was allegedly caring for up to 13 children at one time, more than her license allows. Plus, Underwood allegedly transported the exceeded limit of children for her vehicle. Meanwhile, Esther White says she feels Underwood didn't mean any harm and eventually did return looking for the little girl.
And it felt like it was forever. I don't think that was her intention, to leave her, because the way she looked when she came, she was like, oh my goodness, like she was like a wreck.
Bush says the bottom line is that something far more serious could have happened to the child after being left unattended, and that's why there are strict rules in place for home daycares.
But they put a lot of burden on those operators because you have children and they're entrusted to you.
A trust Underwood may now have to earn back. With more local news, I'm Michelle Nix.
Derek and Leslie, earlier this week I made a public records request with the Youngstown schools asking for the names of the volunteer coaches for an intramural basketball league. I wanted to know if background checks had been done on them and if a parent had filed a complaint about one of their coaches. Now, the district responded telling me that they have learned that background checks on those volunteer coaches were not completed. So the school district has now suspended those individuals. But on my own, I found out that at least 4 of the coaches have drug and/or gun convictions.
It's at the Youngstown Schools elementary buildings where the Intramural Basketball League takes center court as part of the after-school program for grades 4 through 8, including those from outside the district. 18 volunteer coaches trusted to watch over them from the Volney Recreation League, who partner with organizations allegedly like the Boys and Girls Club and reportedly Stambaugh Charter Academy to oversee the program.
We believe that the background checks were done by those organizations. Foolishly, we believe that.
It was here in the gymnasium at Paul C. Bunn where a mother alleges her child was involved in an altercation with one of those coaches during the after-school program. Now, the Youngstown City Schools did investigate, but they say there was no finding of any wrongdoing. However, they did ask that that coach be removed.
It was following that internal investigation by the Youngstown schools that they learned that volunteer coach was never given a background check, and he wasn't the only one.
We will not have any coach, volunteer or otherwise, working with our students that has not gone through the background check.
The Youngstown schools immediately suspended the volunteer basketball coaches related to that program until proper background checks can be performed. And the superintendent was surprised to learn what I discovered through Mahoning County court records. At least 4 of the men have convictions for carrying concealed weapons and drug trafficking.
I would be surprised to hear that, and that all the more reason to make sure that, and we will make sure from now on, that anybody working with our students at any time will have a background check.
With more local news, I'm Michelle Nix.